So I'm hoping that this video will explain to you how I use Google Classroom in my homeschool and how I can maximize my time and my organization to be able to do things once and use it for all three of my kids. So I have three children in three different grades. I have a seventh grader, a second grader, and a kindergartner. How I use Google Classroom for my older daughter is not the same as how I use it for my kindergartner or my second grader. Doesn't make sense, right? But I do use it for all three of my kids, and it is equally important for all three. With my younger children, especially my kindergartner, I use Google Classroom predominantly for my own planning. It makes it really easy for me to have everything in one place. All of my links, all of my worksheets, all of the videos that I'm going to use for them, everything is saved in one spot and I don't have to be looking all over. I also am able to plan out exactly what assignments I want to do on what dates. And that makes my school days flow a lot more simply. For my older daughter, she's in seventh grade or she's finishing seventh grade, so she's a lot more independent. I can plan out what it is that I want Emma to be able to cover in advance and just put it in there with assigned dates, assigned due dates, and Emma knows what work she has to get finished. And I don't have to be on top of her saying, did you do your work? Did you do your work? Did you do your work? It's there for her. My daughter also has ADHD, so it's really important to me to help her learn those executive functioning skills. And Google Classroom and the other tools within Google help me to be able to teach her those important skills. I really love that I can plan once for my older children, my second grader and my seventh grader, and know that I am able to use that work again for my younger children. So I can plan, like this year, next school year, we're going to be doing American history with all three of my children. But the work that I do for my kindergartner, my second grader, is going to be different than the work that I do for my seventh grader or my eighth grader because she's just more mature. Some of it's just not appropriate for me to be doing with a first grader. So I can plan everything once. And then when I spiral back to American history, when my first grader is in eighth grade, then I already have that work done. I can just take the Google Classroom that was archived, unarchive it, update some of the information, maybe change the dates around, and be able to reuse that same classroom and that same plan for my next kid. So to me, that's really important. I like to be able to do things once and never have to do it again. I also like that I can save all of my resources. So everything gets saved in one place. I'm not looking for worksheets. I'm not having to pre-print things ahead of time. I can save the worksheets that I'm going to use for each individual lesson. I can save the links to the websites that I want to use. I can save the YouTube videos that I want to be able to show my kids. I can do all of that and save it in that one individual lesson. And then when it's the day that they're going to be doing the work, like for my older daughter, if it's the day that she's going to do the work, I know that she has these things that she has to get through. For my younger children, it makes it a lot easier for me because everything's in one place when I'm trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to cover. I don't want to have to forget because there are three of them and there's only one of me. So I sometimes can get overwhelmed. It happens. I also really love that I can create Google Forms straight within the individual classroom, and I can use that Google form. I can set that Google form within the settings to be used as a quiz. So it will grade itself. I can specify what answers I want. It will grade itself, and then it will put the grade into my grade book within the Google Classroom. And there's a grade book within the Google Classroom for each one of the children that are in the classroom. That's really big. One other thing that I want to talk about before I actually even get started showing you what to do is that everybody who you want to be able to access your classroom must have an email address with the same domain. If you think about it this way, if your children have ever been in public school, the kids that were in public school all have And the teachers all have an email address at San Mateo Foster City School District, whatever. I think that's the name of the school district where I live. And that's that, like every kid, every teacher, they all have an email address at, San Mateo School District.com. You have to have the same domain. Otherwise, it will not allow you to add teachers or students into your classroom. So if you have a domain name that you own, like I have a blog, so I have a separate domain name that I also own that I use for our Google Classroom, mostly because then the email addresses that I have for my kids, I can really strongly control. But I'm going to be showing it to you today using just my regular Gmail address. And it's completely free. So you can do it either way. The simplest thing to do is just to be sure that you create a Gmail address for yourself and for your kids that's strictly for your homeschool. If you're new to homeschooling, it's really just going to make it a lot simpler. You're going to have a lot of emails and a lot of things that you're going to be signing up for. And if you have one that's just for school, it's going to make things a little bit more streamlined for you. Just my personal opinion and how I run our household. I have 4 separate email addresses, one for each thing. So everybody has to have an email address. Otherwise, it will not let you set them up. We are going to now go into set up a classroom, and then I'm going to show you how to add students and teachers. That's like the beginning of what we're going to do today. So you need to be sure that you download the Google Classroom app. So you're going to come up here to the little 9 dots in the corner. I'm going to click it, and let me move myself out of your way. So you're going to click the Google Apps and scroll down. And if you do not have Classroom where it already shows, just click More from Google and download the app. Once you click the Classroom app, it is going to take you here, and it's going to be blank. It will not show Sample Classroom. That's one that I created. It'll just be completely blank. And you're going to come up here to the plus sign where it says Create or Join a Class. Now, if your children were in public school previously, this is where you would click Join a Class, and you would add in the information from that the teacher gave you. There's a login code, and then you would be able to join the class. If you are going to be adding your children to it, they'll get an email to their email address, the email address that you create for them. They'll get an email to that email address, and then you will click a link in that email address that says join class, and then the classroom will just show up in there. So they won't have to do anything. They'll just click on whatever classes that they've been added to. But for right now, we're going to create a class. So we're going to click the button to create a class, and you're going to get this pop-up. This pop-up says that you are not setting it up with a school, that you are not using a Google G Suite for Education account, that this is just you creating a school, creating a classroom, and that it's not from within a school. So you're going to click the button and click continue. And then you're just going to create a class. So sample class. And I like to put in this section, I like to put what grade. So if I'm working for my 7th grader, my 2nd grader, my kindergartner, I know what grade level it is that I created this for, and it'll be easier for me to find it later. So we'll say kindergarten, and then subject, we'll say history, and you can choose whichever one you want, and room I just leave blank. And you click create. And it is creating. And now we have our sample class. And it will give you, see, it's highlighting the class code. So this is how you invite students to your class. You can either give them this class code, or you can come up here to where it says people. You're going to click on people, and it's going to show teachers or students. Now, somebody had asked in the Facebook group whether we could use this for classes with other families or classes in a co-op. This is how you would be able to do that. Again, The teachers and the students all need to have email addresses at the same domain. So the simplest thing to do is to be sure that you have Gmail addresses. So you're going to invite the other teachers just by typing in their name and clicking invite. This is how you're going to invite your students. You can just download the Google Classroom app and click join like I showed you earlier and type this in if you want, or you can just click the person plus, type in the email addresses that you've created for your children for whichever child you want in this particular class. Click invite and they will automatically get invited. They'll get an invite in an email. So that's how you set up your, how you add people into your classroom. Now we are going to set up your class. So this is your stream page. And hold on one second. So I have my classrooms set up kind of significantly differently than how they would set them up in a traditional school. So in a brick and mortar school or public or private school, your kids will go to class and they'll log into their Google Classroom and the teacher will have it set up so that, okay, everybody, this is our English class and all of the stuff for our English class is in this one classroom. And all of the stuff for our, American history class is in this one classroom. And all of the stuff for our Italian class is in this one classroom. And that's because the teachers have, 40 students per class. And it's a lot for them to have too many classrooms. I find that gets really, really jumbled and messy after a little while, especially on the teacher side. So you'll see when we get into it that only the assignments that have not yet been completed and only the assignments that you have actually assigned to the student will show within their classwork stream, within their assignments. But on your side as the teacher, so if you're using this for your planning, it gets really jumbled because it will show you assignments that are done and it'll show you assignments that are yet to be done. It'll show you assignments that have been assigned and assignments that have been completed. So it looks like all of this stuff and it's hard to figure out what still needs to be accomplished. So instead, I don't do it that way. I create individual classes, but I do it by unit or by topic. So in particular, so we've finished most of our school year so far. So obviously it's June. I live in California. Our school year technically ended 3 or 4 weeks ago. So we're done for the year, but I still make my kids do certain schoolwork all year long because I'm that kind of mean mom. Mostly because I like to be able to take vacations when I want to take vacations and I don't want to have to wait. So I do extra work during the summer so that all year we can take breaks when we need. So I set up my classrooms where each kid, let me show you, each kid has an individual class for their grade. So 2nd grade, kindergarten, 7th grade. And then they also have classes based upon certain topics. So these are the things that are left for the year. The things that I'm making them do for this part of the summer. In their daily work, so in their individual classes, so each kid has in their grade level class, that is going to show them the work that they have to do every day. So, or when they're finished with their regular work. For my 7th grader, she's currently working her way through the Imagineering in a Box class that's on Khan Academy. So I added all of the lessons for it into the Khan Academy topic for Imagineering in a Box. And in doing that, I gave her everything at once. I did this when I first created this newer system because I've been tweaking Google Classroom for a little over a year. This is my newest method, and this is the one that works. It took a little kind of getting used to. So in this method, what I did was I gave her all of the assignments for the Khan Academy class that she was taking, and she's able to work through them at her pace because each individual lesson is not actually one lesson. It's kind of like 3 or 4. So in her stream, which is the first thing that will open up when you look at a grade, or when you look inside of a class, I have for each kid their daily checklist. So this is the stuff that they have to do every day, regardless of the actual other assignments that they have. I have updated, you can see this was done on June 4th, so these have been updated. During the school year, my daughter was doing it in a Google form. I'm now testing out with my older daughter whether she prefers to do it in a paper checklist, which is what I've done with her younger siblings. Just it's simpler for a second grader and a kindergartner to have like a little list in front of them. So she prints out a copy of, everybody prints out a copy of their checklist on Monday. It has to be turned in by Friday, or they lose something that they like for the weekend. Do your work, or you don't get rewarded for it. So with my 13-year-old, it's obviously I take her phone away because that's what 13-year-olds want. So, and that just basic stuff that she's got to do every day. But it's here. And again, because I created this checklist in Canva, saved it as a PDF, and then just was able to add the file into the assignment. And because I was able to add the assignment here with this file, it makes it so much easier. It's all just in one place. So if you wanted to create something for this to share with your class, you would just click. It'll share with the entire 7th grade because I'm not I'm not sharing it with like an individual student, which if you were a teacher, you could share it with an individual kid and you can tell them what to do. And then you can add a link or a file or a YouTube or something from your Google Drive, and everything will just post here. Then you can post it and it will be added right here into their stream. Classwork, discard. We're going to go into classwork. So assignment, you need to create things as a topic and as an assignment. So we're going to create a topic. That's what you want to do first. So this is my sample topic 1. And you see this has created a separate topic. Now, when I'm doing things for actual schoolwork, so right now we are working on World War II. So for my daughter, that meant that we've worked our way through certain information, just like basic information about World War II. And now we are starting the Diary of Anne Frank and the Holocaust. So we're working our way through this. I've saved each of these things as a draft. And once we're done with World War II and the Holocaust, we will move on to another topic, and I will create another classroom for that other topic. That'll be all that I do in this one, and this will then get archived. And you can see, if you go back into the main classes, you can click here, the 3 dots, and then you can archive this individual classroom, and it will send it to the archive thing. You don't have to worry about it. This is why I try to do things piece by piece and not do everything all at once. So like we are working on chemistry. That's the main subject that we were working on for this year. But this section was when she and I were working through, it's a book, it's called The Disappearing Spoon. And we were using that book for our spine for our chemistry. So we were working on chemistry, but we were working on The Disappearing Spoon. So then when I want to work on The Disappearing Spoon With one of my younger kids, I know where to find that information. So we created our topic, and now we are going to create an assignment. So we just click the create button and click assignment. And we are going to create a sample assignment and type. And this is where you put the instructions. Then you're going to click here to add either a Google Drive link, a Google Drive document, a link to any website, a file, so a worksheet that you want your kids to do when they're doing this assignment, any YouTube videos that you want them to watch, or you can create. In Create, you can create documents, slides, sheets, drawings, or forms. I love forms. My second grader really likes taking tests. My seventh grader, not so much, but my second grader really likes it. He thinks it's the greatest thing ever to get a good grade on a test. So I create him a whole lot of quizzes. You click create forms, and it brings you right into the form. If you come up here to settings, you can force it to make this a quiz. It will automatically release the grade. It'll tell the child how many questions they missed, how many answers they got correct, whether they were point values, but it'll automatically populate it into your grade book for the class. So then you don't have to do anything. It's in and it's done. I will sometimes use a quiz and create a quiz for an assignment that I just want to see whether they've done all of the steps. In particular, I'll do that with my older daughter. So you can create whatever you need to create. Then you're going to come over here to where it says topic, and you're going to click which one, move myself out of the way, which one of your topics the class is about, this individual assignment is about. So this is about sample topic 1. Now, I do not want to assign it unless I know that I want to assign it. Once you assign it, you can't take it back. It will not let you change the date. If you schedule it, that's okay. So you can click schedule and you can schedule it for a later date. But if you schedule it for a later date and then you decide that you want it to be a different date, you can reschedule it if you have not yet passed that date. If the date that you scheduled the assignment for has already passed, you cannot change it. Then you're stuck. The only way to change it is to go in and delete the assignment and start over. So I frequently will create assignments, just like I showed you in Anne Frank. I'll create assignments and save them as a draft until I know that I want the assignment to go live, and then I just have to go in and assign it. But I will save it as a draft. And then this is what a sample assignment can look like. So it shows up here as sample topic and sample assignment. If you click sample assignment, it will show you the whole assignment. And it'll show you whether it's been assigned, whether it's been turned in. And this will also show, I think this part also shows on the child's view. It'll add instruction. You can add your instructions for the assignment here. You can add anything that you want to add. I really like that I can add the worksheets here, because if I find worksheets for my children on something like education.com or even on Pinterest, and I've saved it, if it goes into my Google Drive and I have to remember that I needed to use that for a particular assignment, I'm never going to remember it. I'm just not. That's the reality. But if I've put it into the assignment already, then it's all there for me. So it makes it just, my days go so much smoother because everything is in one place. So you can click on, each one of these things is just a hyperlink. So you can click on the website link, the YouTube video, the form, the whatever it is, and everything will just pop right up for you. It makes it much, much easier to be able to get through everything. What else did I want to cover? I think that was the basics of everything for how to create it, how to create a classroom, how to add classwork, how to add people. Oh, if you come up here, you can click on grades, and this will show you whatever the grades are for the child for each individual assignment that's already been assigned. And it'll show you, like, well, again, this is made for a teacher who's got multiple students. So it's going to, show what the class average was and then show what the individual child's assignment was. Now, if you are homeschooling here in California and you're going through a charter, they don't care. Like, they're just going to give you a good, unless your kid's in high school, they're not going to care. And I'm not at that point yet, so I really don't care. I tend to mark things as being ungraded so that I don't have to worry about looking at this later. I'm just more concerned with making sure that my 7th grader actually turned her work in. But that is everything so far in a nutshell for how to set up your Google Classroom, why I use Google Classroom, how it is that I use it for our family, where I use it for smaller unit studies and pieces of an assignment rather than all of history, all of English, all of science, whatever the case may be. I break it down into the pieces. I find that it's a lot less cluttered looking and messy and makes my life feel a little bit more organized. But hopefully this was helpful for all of you. Please comment in the down below and let me know if you have any further questions. And I hope you all have a fantastic night.